Hey everybody, my name is Dr. Scott Giacomucci. I'm the author of Trauma-Informed Principles in Group Therapy, Psychodrama, and Organizations, Action Methods for Leadership. And today I want to talk to you a bit about Chapter 6 in this book, which is focused on the second of the 6 Trauma-Informed Principles. Chapter 6 is titled Trustworthiness and Transparency in Group Therapy, Psychodrama, and Leadership. So this video is going to outline content from Chapter 6, really talking about the importance of trustworthiness and transparency within organizations, within supervision, as trauma-informed leaders, in psychodrama, and in group psychotherapy in general. Now, of course, this is focused just on the second of the 6 trauma-informed principles outlined by SAMHSA, and it's important to note that these 6 principles really go together. We can't fully cultivate trustworthiness and transparency without also addressing the other 5 trauma-informed principles. So I encourage you to check out some of the other videos on this channel to learn more about the other trauma-informed principles as they relate to trauma recovery, as they relate to group therapy, to psychodrama practice, and to leadership and organizations. Now, trauma and PTSD at their fundamental level really rupture a sense of trust within the self, within others and relationships, and within the world. When we experience trauma, it so often takes place within relationships, and it can be in the form of betrayal or abandonment, or neglect, or violence, or abuse, or harm. And it leads to difficulty trusting others and feeling safe with others. Other types of trauma, like natural disasters or other tragedies, might leave our trust in humanity or our trust just in the world shook and shaken. Trauma really can disrupt our sense of trust in others in the world, whereas PTSD really can disrupt our sense of self, our sense of trust in ourselves. PTSD and trauma can really disrupt our sense of trust in ourselves. In the aftermath of trauma, while experiencing traumatic stress, it's pretty common to struggle to know what's real and what's not real, to almost lose a sense of trust in our own body. Is our body our sense? Can we trust our senses? Is what we're seeing, what we're feeling, what we're sensing, is it related to what's happening here and now? Or is it being triggered and related to that past trauma that we experienced? Can we even trust our thoughts in our decision making in the aftermath of trauma? I mean, PTSD by its nature leaves us with negative moods and feelings and negative and distorted beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world. So at its core, trauma and PTSD involve a rupture of trust in ourselves, trust in others, and trust in the world. I think collective traumas also disrupt our sense of trust in humanity, or a sense of trust in the goodness of others. Judith Herman, who's wrote the book Trauma and Recovery and is one of the pioneers and most famous trauma experts, she describes trust as a foundational belief in the continuity of life, a sense of safety in the world, and a formative core element sustaining one throughout their life. So on that existential level, we can see how trauma can really disrupt this foundational belief in the continuity of life, a sense of safety in the world, and this core element sustaining us throughout our life. If we experience trauma and come to believe that the world's not a safe place, that we're constantly hyper aroused about the fragility of life and our own death or the death of people around us, and we lose this trust that life will go on, we lose this trust in the continuity of life, we lose the trust in the safety and goodness of the world, the benefits of living, of having relationships, it really can be paralyzing and debilitating. Trust is really at the basis of all relationships and at the basis of all spirituality and faith. In moments of terror or trauma, as humans, we'll naturally cry out for those that we most trust. Usually, these are our caregivers, our parents, our partners, or God. And in the moment of trauma, if this cry for help or comfort goes unanswered, trauma survivors' basic sense of trust and faith in the world and in others can be completely destroyed. Judith Herman says, when trust is lost, traumatized people feel that they belong more to the dead than to the living. A loss of trust in the world, loss of trust in relationships, and trust in oneself, in our own senses, are really core to trauma and PTSD. Again, so much of trauma happens because of other human beings betraying our trust in them, or simply because of other human beings in general, which can make it really hard to trust other human beings in the future, to feel safe in relationships. This is especially true for complex trauma and complex PTSD.